Hi, today we're going to talk about frustration and how it is the hidden partner in growth and goals. And today I want to talk to you about frustration and encourage you about frustration and really give you a guiding, a principle way, perspective of interacting with your frustration, other people's frustration. I want you to know what it means from the brain's perspective, from the body's perspective. I want you to know what it means for your goals and your growth. And so ultimately, I really want you embracing your frustration and seeing it as an opportunity as part of your healing team showing up, your life elevation team showing up, and that they're here for a reason, and they you want to help them accomplish that purpose. Okay, so it's a different way of looking at this, and I hope it inspires you and encourages you and leads to your growth. So, I'm Rachel McLeod. I am a mental health therapist and an emotional wellness coach, and I specialize in helping people do the brain work for resolving symptoms of anxiety, depression, traumatic stress, and really helping people do also the same brain work for thriving, living a life of satisfaction and abundance. I don't want to just stop at symptoms. I want to go all the way to dream life creation because it's your brain's job to do all of those things. So, um, and it's exciting because it's really, really fast. It's really, really great at this. But things um, that process, that healing process, gets blocked and stopped by distress, right? Frustration is a distress. So frustration can really stop your healing process, your brain's process for creating your growth. And so if that's happening, it's really important that we support this frustration to pull out of there and that we, whatever is blocking, stopping, impairing, or slowing down your healing process, we get that unblocked and your brain moving forward so that what you're going to notice very quickly is growth goals. Things are easier, elevated way, you have an elevated way of functioning in the world. Your emotional intelligence is higher noticeably. Um, and this is really wonderful. Even clients that I have that are severely depressed, they begin as severely depressed, they really start noticing how much better they're functioning. And so even in depression, they're like, wow, I handled that so much better, right? We get these things moving, and then the next thing you know, those things are in the past and we're reaching towards goals and life goals, relationship goals, financial goals, hobby goals, any of them, and we're off and running and really having a really great time. So uh, that's really a lot of what I do is getting that process blocked and stopped, and it's the survival system that does it. The survival system stops that process. The more active your survival system is, the lower that processing will be, and the lower your brain will be able, the more difficult time and more impossible time your brain will have in resolving symptoms and also helping you achieve goals. So um, that is frustration comes in here with that. And when our frustration is an emotion in the body, and it is one of the body's reporters of what's not working, right? And I think that's really beautiful. Okay, especially as somebody, I consider myself a functionist. I Everything I do is about function, and not that I have function in every area. However, I even the way I dress is functional. A lot of times, like right now, it's summer, but I'm so cold, right? This is not the fashion statement I want to make today, but it is the functional statement I want to make today. But the function of frustration is really beautiful. It's like a cozy sweater, right? It may not look fabulous before it gets processed, but what it serves you with is really, really, really powerful. So, but it is the reporter of what's not working. Your brain, the top parts of your brain, need to know what's not working. They need to know. If they don't know what's not working, they can't fix it. They can't upgrade it. They will never know. And that's more frustrating because what happens is your brain acts like it doesn't know that it's frustrating. It doesn't know that it doesn't work. So it keeps trying over and over and over again. And you just keep getting more and more frustrated. But that frustration isn't moving through the healing process, the the brain's natural process for understanding and integrating and activating and utilizing the emotions and the information coming through. So it's the frustrations here. The frustration teams arrive to tell the top of the brain all about it, but it's not making it to the table. It can't come to the conversation because that distress is too big and the survival system jumps in and starts blocking the frustration. It says, no, you can't come in here. You're too painful. It's too much distress. And so we have explosions of frustration. We will not be able to use our frustration for the highest good. We will use it for survival activities like fight, flight, freeze, faint, and fawn. And this is why frustration gets a bad rap because it will often send us into fight mode. We're snapping at people, we're weaponizing our frustration, we're complaining about it. And frustration is it's a very specific sound, frustration. And then we learn that people aren't safe when they're frustrated because they're more likely to lash out or weaponize their emotions. And so we build this whole relationship with frustration that is very dysfunctional and problematic. And I'm just like, gosh, but frustration's so wonderful. uh, watch what your brain does when it can actually take the frustration that's coming up and process it, right? In therapy sessions, I don't preach about this. I just walk people through the process, and they watch what their brain does with frustration, and they're interesting, huh? Who would have thought? I know. The proof is in the pudding. I want you to experience it, but I am going to talk about it today because I want you to be interested. I want to appeal to your interest, and um, and just give you another way of looking at this frustration piece because you need to know what's not working, and you know logically what's not working already, but your body's designed to report to the brain everything that's happening outside of you and inside of you. If that loop of communication breaks, your brain does not know what's happening. And so logically, you understand this isn't working. I would like to do something different. But your brain's like, looks fine to me. And so you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, right? I wanted to reinforce that pattern over and over again. So frustration is your ticket to get out of repetitive loops. Frustration is your ticket to get out of dysfunctional relationships. Frustration is your ticket to get out of beliefs that are holding you back. Frustration is your ticket out and up. If you want things to work, if you want them to function, then you want your frustration showing up. Okay. It is the teammate that you are looking for. When people come in with frustrations, great, I'm here for that. But if they come in with a goal they can't reach, I want to talk to me about what are you frustrated about. Let's pull up the frustration team and get them to work on this because they need to provide the report to the brain, right? And we work with that for a little bit, and all of a sudden, epiphanies, insights, the brain is like, oh, this doesn't work. We're like, yeah, welcome to the party. Lights on, right? And then all of a sudden, there's this higher level dialogue, this higher level exploration, this higher level analysis that's happening now that one of the missing pieces have been plugged in. One of the missing reports have been read by the brain. And this is how you get your brain equipped to help you reach your goals by giving it what it needs. And frustration, processed frustration is one of the biggest winners here. And so now, one of the things we have a challenges with is that frustration is painful. Frustration uh, is distressing to the survival system, and so it will. If it gets too distressing, the survival system is going to just shut it off. It's going to get us out of there. It's going to get us away from what's frustrating us, and so we'll find that we will avoid the things that we're frustrated, that we feel too frustrated about, because our survival system said that's not safe. We're not doing it. We end up in a puddle that doesn't go anywhere. So we're not doing it, and it's right. If the brain doesn't have enough support to process frustration, it's not going to get processed, right? And so that's it learns that I'm not having enough support, and if we don't know how to support it, we don't have practice. Also, if we when we were little, which is when we're learning so much frustration, our body's telling us about what's not working while we're walking, what's not working with sharing toys, what's not working, right? And so we have all these opportunities to practice frustration, getting really good at frustration, or building our frustration skills. And sometimes in childhood, we don't have the support we need to convert that frustration into growth. And sometimes our parents are frustrated too. They see the frustration and we're doubling up on frustration, which leads to more shutdown or more fighting or more fleeing, more getting away, slamming the doors, more name calling, those sorts of things that we're all malfunctioning in the presence of frustration. I would like to see that come to an end. I would like us to say, oh, great, you're frustrated. You're about to have a growth spurt. This is lovely. And then to apply the actual support needed, right? And know what that support is. And remember, the survival system isn't a talk listening, a talk reasoning, or logic center. It doesn't care about those things. It doesn't understand it. It doesn't want data. What it wants to know is, am I safe or am I not safe? It's like all this frustration's running up, and your survival system's like, are we safe or we're not safe? We're not safe. I don't think we're safe. And so eject, right? But if this frustration is coming up and it's like, are we safe or we're not safe? And we can send it the safety signals it's looking for from the body, because that's who it wants to receive the information from. Body, are we safe? Where are the safety signals coming from my body that let me know that we're safe enough to let this thing pass through and go to the top of the brain? Right? And that's why we use specific interventions. And, I have four of my favorite interventions. I share three of them for free in my program, Interventions for Inner World Transformation. It's a free program where you can seriously jump in and learn these interventions that send safety signals and actually help your brain allow frustration to process quickly in minutes, seconds and minutes. It takes about 30 seconds. But you can use it multiple times in a row and increase the safety signal timing and really get more frustration processed. Okay. So that what happens next here is that we want to practice frustration processing because we want to grow the ability, we want to grow tolerance, and we want to grow skill with processing frustration, especially if we missed out on a lot of healthy frustration processing as a child because maybe our parents couldn't support it, or maybe where we were, the adults around couldn't support us to do that. And then by the time we got older, they were like, well, I'm not helping you. Like, gosh, get it together, right? But you've never got support to do this. Now we get to support yourself. We get to support you. And definitely try those three interventions because that's the support your brain needs. So you use the interventions at the same time that you're frustrated. Your frustration team is showing up in your body and your mind and your emotions, and they're trying to get to the top of the brain, and you're going to use one of those interventions that work. Try the interventions. If it doesn't work, throw it out. We don't have time for an intervention that doesn't work, right? So that's why I send three in there, because they're the most likely to work, and I've used them to resolve all kinds of symptoms and disorders. And so, but if you have one of them that works, even just a little bit is a lot for brains. But sometimes you use them and they work. You do a little bit, and it's like symptom gone. But for the most part, a lot of times we're helping process. We're helping the brain increase processing speed. Sometimes we get the big win, but really we're going for long-term wins. There's a bunch of long-term developmental wins that we need in order to sustain mental health and wellness. I don't just want people to have flashes in the bucket of awesome and then crash and then where'd they go, right? I want them to, I'm going to bring the infrastructure up to match the level of awesome that they're reaching. And so that it's more sustainable and they can consistently live at that level and build their life at that level, not just visit it occasionally. And so there's a lot of longer term wins that we need. And this frustration tolerance is one of them. This is a big one because we need to grow the ability with frustration. Some of us will notice that as soon as we get frustrated, we're out. We feel like we can't control ourselves. We feel like we're flying apart. We feel like we're suffocating. We feel many things in our body when frustration comes along, and it's extreme, right? And so we're not going to spend a lot of time with it because you don't get a lot of time. I'm going to sneeze. But the time that you get with it, we're going to pull up with some interventions and send safety signals to your survival system while you're frustrated. Also, in that situation, we're also going to pull out of this and we're going to be proactive. Hey, I bet this thing that I always get frustrated with is about to happen. So I'm going to start processing. I'm going to use my intervention now, whichever intervention you're using, while I'm thinking about what I'm going to be doing next with this frustrating thing. And that gives us a little bit more distance as we're starting to handle the frustration and touch it and play with it, which is how brains get to know things and how brains start to master things by touching it and playing. If you always avoid your frustration, you're not going to get better at frustration processing. And that means you're not going to get better at your brain's ability to understand what's not working in your life. And I can't tell you how frustrating that is. This is a big problem in many of our abilities to create the life that we want, is that we can't get that frustration processed. We don't know what's not working. And we walk around, we complain about it all the time. Our mind knows, but we don't. I'm not going to make that loop again. I've already walked you through it twice. So, but I will say that that this is going to be it's really important that we do repetitions with frustration so that we can build some mastery. We can become very masterful at frustration, at having frustration in our body, sitting with frustration, embracing frustration, um, separating from frustration, integrating frustration, pausing it, saying yes and with the frustration. I am frustrated and I'm going to finish this conversation kindly, right? All these things, your brain will build them for you. We want your brain to be able to do frustration at the same time as progress. That's what we're going through. We want frustration to be a seamless process where it comes, you can feel it, and then it integrates. Once it integrates, it feels like it leaves, but it's not a leaving thing. It's that it's being converted into something that creates health, wellness, expansion, growth, and it feels lighter. It feels different. It doesn't feel like the heavy stuff in our body anymore. So, also, one of the things that happens with frustration is that um, once it gets processed, it's the reporter of what's not working. And so instead of doing a bunch of productivity things, it really makes your productivity better, like, and more effective and aligned and intelligent productivity. Sometimes you get in those places where you're just being busy, but you're not really getting ahead. I used to do this. I used to go into the room. I was trying to clean my kitchen with ADHD, and I had no cleaning skills at this time. So, and organizing at this level, right? You go from being a child in a home to running a house. Um, and I would go in and try and clean, and it would look worse when I finished. I was like, what in the world? Anyway, at that time, I also had tapping. So I started tapping about it. And I was processing the frustration. And my brain said, okay, we're not doing this. We're doing this in this order. It organized me, executive functioning. Hello. That's awesome stuff. And then I started being effective. So I wasn't just being busy all day long, because that would be the other thing. It looked worse. And I worked all day on it. And so I was ineffective, I was inefficient, and it just and but I'll tell you what, I had plenty of frustration every day. And so I started getting that stuff processed and it organized me. And this is one of the things we'll see is that it's frustration helps us work smarter, not harder. Frustration processing helps us work smarter, not harder. It helps, and that impacts our self-esteem. Now we like ourselves better. It impacts our self-confidence. Now we're kind of proud of ourselves, and we're like, I'm capable. Who knew? I can do this. Look at me. Whoa, right? There's a lot of things that are happening with frustration processing that is really important to us. And frustration processing is going to also help the brain release ideas. The brain is going to figure out, oh, this idea I thought worked doesn't. It's going to throw it off, and this one doesn't. It's going to slim things down. That's going to create availability for you for new ideas and new insights, and your brain will go look for more things. And so this affects your reticular activating system, and all of a sudden you are seeing new opportunities, new solutions all around you. And that's really powerful, all because you got this corrective flow of influence called frustration through. And it informed your brain in the brain's language of what's not working. And your brain responded, corrected course, reorganized, rewired, dropped some stuff off, released. And now you're noticing fewer waste behaviors, more efficiency, more effectiveness, and more accurate, effective productivity, not just scrambling and or not just giving up, not just overwhelmed. That's frustration processing. And that is the power of frustration, that it will align you with like your um, one in the beginning of when you can't get your frustration processed, you're burning through for so much energy because you're trying so many things or you're trying to avoid so many things, which takes a lot of energy too. And so now, if you're able to just process that stuff, there's so much more peace and there's so much more lightness and there's so much less inner chaos. So, frustration is super important. Also, one of the things that your brain will make from frustration is kindness, and it's going to make assertiveness. It's not going to, you're not going to sit back here and be like, I don't know, I don't know. You're going to be like, oh no, that doesn't work. You know it doesn't work. Your brain knows it doesn't work. It's clear to you it doesn't work. So you're not doing that anymore. This is one of the ways people get out of toxic relationships. Their process frustration, and the next thing their brain says is, "This doesn't work. Maybe, and this is never going to work, or this isn't going to work until this, and I don't have this, and I don't want to wait anymore for that." Like there's higher levels of computation going on, processing, analyzing, and we want to feed this part of the brain all these emotions that tell it, we don't like this. We're not happy with this. Can you do something about this? Right? We don't want to just tell our friends or our family. We don't just want to we want tell your brain it is the only piece of equipment on the earth designed and committed to helping you achieve your goals. That's its only purpose. And if it can't hear what's going on, it will not be able to do its work for you. And so, whether you're in the beginning of your healing journey or you are moving past that and you're in the advanced phases where you're about growth and you're about achieving your goals, your relationship goals, or maybe you're going to start your paintings or you're going to finish that music album or whatever it is you're doing, or you're going to go back to school, this place right here, frustration, is your teammate. It is a powerful teammate and it's worth practicing. When you start practicing frustration, it's something I play this with people. Like I just play games with people. I invent the game for them based on what emotion their brain is working on. But one of my when frustration is coming up, we'll play it for about a week. Then it leaves the awareness. People just forget about the game because their brain catches up with the speed of frustration that's needed to process. It's like in the beginning, it's so slow, and you can see it slow. Oh, it's in the body, and it's in the words, and it's in the ideas and the thoughts, and it's just not moving slowly through. And so we'll start playing in the beginning, and it's all you can think about is how frustrated you are. And as the stuff processes, it goes to the back, it goes outside of the awareness, and it becomes not a preoccupation anymore. And people just forget the game and they just stop playing. Perfect. But so you want to pick a game like, well, I like to play blackout bingo. So if imagine your bingo card, because a lot of us played that in elementary school, and it has all the rows and it has all the little boxes, and you got to cover all the cards. And so if you can find yourself frustrated and use your intervention at the same time, you get to take your little ink blotter and blot that thing, and you find it in the next place, and you go and you make it's a mental game. It's pretensies, okay? So, but you want to just fill that up. Brain's subconscious mind love pretensies, and so and we learn faster when we're gamifying things because it's playful, it's fun, and it's not upsetting and distressing, and which makes more distress, and then it's harder to process. We want to clear out the space, make it fun, make it a game, and practice. And so you kind of keep up with it all week long until you forget, but that will bring your frustration tolerance up higher. You will notice people will comment about you. They're like, wow, you're so much less frustrated. Or you'll notice that you can do things now that you didn't even know you were avoiding. You can do things now that you knew you were avoiding because it made you so frustrated when you tried to do it. And all of a sudden, those doors are open and you can do those things. And so you're going to notice an increase in capacity because frustration processing is also going to make you very capable of things. It's going to unlock your capabilities. So that's just important stuff. Everybody needs that. So between now and my next video, what I would love to encourage you to do is try my free interventions. Go online. The link is below. Try the free interventions. Pick one. See what works. If you get one that works, you're winning. Done. You don't even have to watch another video. But you might want more because if you're like me, I love all the interventions, but I've limited in here so you can't go on an intervention hunt because we actually want to work on processing right? So you have three options to keep you engaged, and you can see which one you like for this work, which one helps your brain process frustration better. Okay, and experiment, try it out. All right, and then watch what happens. Watch what happens the next day. Watch what happens 2 days from then. Watch what happens right there in the moment. And in that training course, I also show you what you're looking for, what brain signs, what thought signs you're looking for, and yeah, and I help you figure out if that intervention's working for you or not. So, uh, but try it. This isn't something I just want to go in your ears and out. I want you to experiment with it if you feel safe doing so after watching the videos and learning some more. Okay, and also, if you want to do more work with me, I do one-on-one work. I help people reach their goals, resolve symptoms, get rid of that invisible ceiling, and that frustrating invisible ceiling between you and your goals, and you and your your life, those really joyful, satisfying, fulfilling things that you've been dreaming of, that you feel like there's a glass ceiling between you and them. That's usually the brain talking about, I'm almost there. I can see it, but I can't quite get past this thing that I'm that's a really great spot to get some help, and I'm really helpful with finding what that is, which layer of work your brain needs to get through to get things moving. So you can find information about working with me online or in small one-on-one or in small groups on my website, and the link is below in the description. So wonderful seeing you, wonderful connecting with you, and I will see you around. Please, I have another request. Um, what I'd love for you to do is, if you're willing to, I'd love for you to share any thoughts you have about frustration, your frustration you've seen from other people. Have you found it scary? I perversely find that's probably not a fabulous word, but uh, frustration, it brings me joy. I know that's a very weird response to frustration, but when people are safely expressing frustration, I just feel very joyful about it. So if you have any little weird things like that, especially as a volleyball player on the court, and we're all playing so hard, and somebody mishits something, and then they're like, ah, I have to laugh for a while. So, but we've all had different experiences with frustration. Some people have not been safe with frustration, and so any if somebody were to do that on the same volleyball court, maybe for you, it's like, it's just your body or your chest tightens. So I'd love to hear about your feelings, your thoughts, your interactions, your experiences with frustration inside yourself or outside in the world around you. And I may not respond, but I am going to read your comments. So I'm getting quite a bit of comments lately, and so it's tough to keep up. All right, I'll see you around, and take care.